I'm Whitney.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Deb.
We're three best friends who love nerdy things.
Well, some people think we're nerdy, but we think we're pretty awesome.
This is our nerdiest thing.
Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to our nerdiest thing. Today, we're going to be talking about the craziest moves by book boyfriends.
Or girlfriends.
Or girlfriends, yes, that's true. Book characters, although mine are all men. So we are celebrating this weird holiday of Celebrate Your Unique Talent Day, which is November 24th. That's the inspiration for this topic, which that is happening next week. So you know what? Celebrate your unique talent.
Being psycho a unique talent?
Sometimes it is. It depends on how psycho you are. I would say yes.
That she is
me.
That she is psycho.
No, I was thinking
Like, right, you're like, sometimes it is, bitch.
I did not know you were asking about yourself.
No, I wasn't, but the way you
okay.
framed it, you were like, Deb, sometimes it is a unique
No,
talent.
I was thinking
you do
like
really good at that.
I was thinking like Butcher and Blackbird. Like
Yeah.
I would say that's a unique talent for them, and they're
Plucking
crazy.
eyeballs.
Yeah, like they're very psycho.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway. Deb, will you please tell us about our nerdiest cocktail?
Yeah, let's add liquor to this.
That's a great idea. It's going to be great.
This week's cocktail is named Dickmatized.
Love it.
Really? Like, so I think Whitney's a lightweight, and then she makes the cocktail, and I'm like, oh, it's because your cocktails are 90% alcohol. Because it's vodka, Aperol, and then like a splash of pomegranate juice. It's
To
a lot of
taste.
alcohol.
Yeah,
No,
pomegranate
it is-
juice to taste.
It is really good. You can find the recipe at ournerdiestthing.com or on Instagram at ournerdiestthing, or you could listen on Thursday like a good girl.
Ooh. Oh my.
Whitney's like, I will.
I will, yes. Thank you so much, Deb. That brings us to our nerdy news, nerd alerts. I actually have a couple this week. Mindy, do you have any this week?
No, I do not.
I was like, do all three of us have some again?
No, that was a one-time deal last time.
Once a season. Maybe next time.
I feel like this is, for me, like Mindy's our nerdiest vocabulary.
Yeah.
Like, I love
Yes.
finding book news. But
I would agree with that. Well, I'll go first. Because I only have a couple. I am not even like a quarter away through my cocktail, just so everyone is aware. So
we know you're drunk when you start telling us how much water you've had.
So far, none. First up is A Better Engagement by Ellory Douglas. We did an interview with her that just came out, I think, last week or week before. So definitely go listen to that. A Better Engagement comes out on November 25th. So that's next week as of the release of this podcast. And this is actually a novella, an extended epilogue to A Better Proposal, which is one of Ellory's books that is already out. It's on KU. So A Better Proposal follows Alex and Jill, who met in college when Alex was a horrible and very unfair TA for Jill's chemistry
I
class.
thought you were going to call him a whore.
Well, she wishes. He was horrible. But they meet again later in life in a professional setting, and sparks fly, wouldn't you know? So Ellory's writing is so good. We just had our interview with her. Please go back and listen to it and check her
posted
books
the
out.
interview too. People were like, "Oh my god, we love Ellory
She
Douglas."
is,
Like,
it's so good.
Yeah.
And A Better Engagement, the novella, it really is an extended epilogue to A Better Proposal. So you've got to read A Better Proposal first, but it's so good. And she's the one that wrote A Lucky Shot that I was like,
Yes, that you
everybody
loved.
read this book. It's so good. So definitely check that out. And
I'm going to pull it, Whitney. I'll add it to the list.
add it to the list on the TBR. And then the other one came out on November 15th. This is When the Rain Falls. And I don't 100% know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so I'm so sorry. It's Rhea, R-E-A, Rhea Riley. This is an arc that I just read. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later because it's under my what we're reading, and it's my Convince You to Read this week. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, but it just came out on November 15th, and you definitely need to read it. So
Cool.
Okay.
Well, I've got 3 book releases I want to talk about. The first one is The Songbird in the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. This is the 3rd book in the Crowns of Nyaxia
Yeah.
series. And this book's about Mishi, who I
Ooh.
love. Mishi's a woman with hidden talents. And then there's Asar, who's a scarred heir. And they have to travel to the underworld to complete a task for the goddess of vampires, which is like the
Ooh.
big bad in the series. So
Yeah.
it says along the way, they face trials, beasts, and their pasts. Wow. dealing with forbidden attraction.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love her writing. I think she's a brilliant author. Next, we've got The Whispering Night by Susan Dennard. That comes out on November 19th. And this is the conclusion to the Luminaries trilogy. So again, like, you can't give the synopsis when it's the end of a series because you're going to spoil stuff for someone. But the tagline is, "The forest is more dangerous than ever."
Ooh.
So then my final one is Not for a Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. This actually comes out on November 26th, but we're not going to have an episode that week.
Yeah.
This is a queer historical YA romance about the granddaughter of Robin Hood and the girl she accidentally kidnaps. It's supposed to be rom-com-y and really fun. And I like Lex Croucher. It's very light writing and easy to read, but it always has something to do with like some sort of old folklore, like Grimm's fairy tales or something like that.
That's
I wouldn't call them retellings. It's more of like adjacent, right?
Yeah, inspired by.
Yeah. But I just think their writing is really, really fun. So I'm excited.
See a lot of Robin Hood inspired things either.
I know, and I want to know how you accidentally kidnap someone.
Whoopsie.
Thought you were somebody else.
Yeah. So I'm excited for all three of those.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I like the Robin Hood thing too. It makes me think of the animated feature film from the 40s, the 50s, the
Disney
60s.
One?
Yeah, the Disney one with the like really attractive fox.
So there's a whole thing on Book Talk about how like people were like, this is why we like monster romance.
1,000%. Him and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
The Beast was the first touch her and die I ever watched.
Yeah.
I just realized why I love foxes so much.
Because of that.
Because of the movie?
Yeah, I've always, that's what all my tattoos are. Like, I love foxes.
He is very sexy.
He is the OG.
He really is.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, I talked about Devon Sawa and Casper being my sexual awakening. Maybe yours was the Robin.
Maybe.
I think I had multiple. Both of those are on that list.
I'm still, the more I read, the more sexual awakenings I have.
Yeah,
100%.
So true. Yeah. Oh no. Look what happened by accident.
Oh no, I like that.
Yeah. So let's go into the nerdy and dirty, what we are reading right now. Mindy, what have you been reading?
Well, I am just really enjoying Christmas books. I decided I was going to, Halloween was over, my favorite.
Go all in.
Right. And I might as well just jump right in because you know what? I've decided that I'm going to do what I like when I like.
Yeah.
So
Have you not been doing that?
Yes and no. I think I'm just like more committed now.
Yeah. Unapologetic.
And not just books. I'm just saying.
I love that for you.
I'm ready to just be me.
Mindy and I were texting last night and she's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm saying whatever I want.
Sort of where I am right now. But escaping into Christmas was really a good idea for me, I think. I read Single and Ready to Jingle by Piper Rain. It was really cute. It was pretty standard, right? Standard rom-com. But it was good. It was
comfortable stuff is really nice.
Yeah, I really needed that. And so now I'm starting Chasing Nicholas Saint, which is Stephanie Blais' new, I think it's a novella.
How does she write so fast?
I'm telling you. I don't know.
She's been cranking them out.
She has been. So I think it's a novella, though. I don't think it's as long as some of her other books. But I haven't even really started. I just pulled it back up on my Kindle.
Like downloaded it.
Yeah.
So it's ready to
I just finished the other one last night. So that's next up on my list is Chasing Nicholas Saint. And that's probably what's going to be what I'm reading for the next couple of episodes.
You do you, boo.
Yep.
Unapologetically you. Deb, what are you reading?
I am still reading Dawn of the Cursed Queen by Amber V. Nicole because it's a fantasy book and it's like 800 pages long.
Yeah. So like 18 hours audiobook or something?
Well, I'm actually reading it too, which
the physical
takes
book.
longer.
Yeah.
And so to be honest though, in the last 2 weeks between travel and my mental state, I haven't hardly listened to or read anything. I just haven't had the mental capacity for it, but I'm back on track because I listened to 5 hours of a book today while I was working. So I'm getting there, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting back into it, but I mean, her writing is so much fun, and this is the third book in that series, and you get so invested in her characters. So I'm excited to see where they go.
Well, I read enough for both of us this week. I
know you sent me back to back
ton.
Yeah.
I read 6 arcs.
That was me last month.
Yeah, a lot.
No, this is going to be my shortest month of read, because normally I average between 15 and 17 books a month, and I've only read 3 this month so far, and it's mid-month.
Well, this is your busy month too.
It's my
busy
busiest
season.
time. Yeah.
I read these 6 arcs this week. So,
I'm glad though. I'm glad that you got like a good mental reprieve.
I'm gonna give just like a brief little synopsis of all of them. I really enjoyed all of them, honestly. So it was an exciting week because sometimes you don't know what you're gonna get with an arc, and other times
you don't. Sometimes you get a glass dildo with a ghost, and then sometimes you get like a Tessa Bailey book.
Something great, yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, A Better Proposal and A Better Engagement that's coming out. I loved it. I had already read A Better Proposal, and Sunny Bay PR, thank you so much for the arc of A Better Engagement. 5-star read for me. I love Ellory Douglas and everything that she has written and probably everything that she will write. So the next one is Keeping You by Alex Taylor. Also an arc from Sunny Bay PR. So thank you so much. This was a really fun read, but I really had to suspend my disbelief. So here's what I mean. Hannah and Grayson tried to date and work together. It did not end well. Now they've woken up married after a drunken night in Vegas while they're there for a work conference.
When that happens.
Right. So where I had to suspend my disbelief hardcore was the overall premise that Hannah would just agree to move in with Grayson and like try to make this marriage work for like kind of no reason at all.
And if you just, it isn't because he's like filthy rich or good in the sack or is a good friend
or something's on the line for her. Like usually in hockey, it's like, I need this for my image and I need this to pay off my bills.
Nope. It's just Grayson is like, give me 90 days to prove to you that we could have a relationship. And she's like, okay.
So
that's kind of it.
Had he been into her before?
They tried to date before.
Oh, sorry.
They tried to date before and he is super into her and she hates him for like a miscommunication. The reason they stopped dating. I know. Which, okay, just if you just go with it, then it's great. Yeah. But if you are like, why? Then
if you're somebody who
there's
gets
questions.
hung up on that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. If you can't let that go, then don't read that book. But it was a very fun rom-com. It was a 4-star read for me. Then next up, NetGalley. Thank you so much for the e-arc of Tessa Bailey's Dream Girl drama.
Hey, I finally got approved for that shit.
Did you?
I was mad because I always get approved for her arcs. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
They just wanted to make you sweat a little bit.
I love that we all
did.
On the,
I know,
Tessa
right?
Bailey train.
So Dream Girl Drama is book 3 in her Big Shots series, and it follows characters that we meet in the Au Pair Affair, Chloe and Sig, who have a very weird connection.
I didn't know
who is it about.
I am so tired. Yeah. Oh my God. But I'm so excited because I love them.
Yeah, it's really good. So they're about to become step siblings. Their parents are getting married. Ew. So, well, just go for it. It's really, really good.
I don't mind step siblings as long as they weren't step siblings before.
No,
when
they were like, they just met.
If you were 8 and he was 20.
Yeah. No. They're both like around the
adults.
Same age. They had just met each other and their parents are dating like when they meet each other. So they are going to be step siblings, but like as adult people.
Gotcha.
Right?
Got it. Thank you.
They did not know each other beforehand. This book is so good. It's a 5-star read for me. However, go into it knowing that it is not as light or quite as rom-com-y as the other two Big Shots books.
Au Pair Affair had a very triggering moment.
This one is, I don't want to say it's darker because it's not darker, but there's a lot more like heartache. There's a lot more angst. There's a lot more serious stuff. It's not like, there are not a ton of like fun, light moments, but it's still a very good read. So I cried.
I can't wait.
I cried a little bit. So, but it's Tessa Bailey. So, keep the faith, read the book all the way to the end. So it's good. And then I also from NetGalley, I'm telling you, I read a shit ton of arcs this week. This is all I did. My house isn't clean, but that's okay. I also got from NetGalley Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, which I think was just like an extra thing. Like, hey, you got Dream Girl.
You know what
thing.
Though I've noticed?
I don't know.
If they redo the covers, they'll put it back on NetGalley.
Maybe that's what I guess I requested it at some point. I don't know. It was just like, surprise, Halloween is over. Here's a Christmas book. And I was like, didn't this come out already? Anyway, so this is a holiday romance read from Tessa Bailey. I think it was out a year or two ago. So, okay, this was fine. It's a 4-star read, 4-star read for me. It was not as good as Wreck the Halls, but that's like super high expectations from Wreck the Halls.
None of us can have the delinquent beat who likes edging,
right? So this book did give me 2 gems of spicy phrasing. The salty abundance of flesh.
No.
As a PP. I would have preferred PP. And then also the valley of my bottom. Which no thank you.
Is that vagina or butthole?
Butt crack.
Oh,
he went through the valley of my
I would call
bottom
that-
to my rear
Well,
entrance.
I was going to say, I guess it would be mountains, but I guess there's a valley in between the mountains.
Yeah, there you go.
I would have even preferred
So
Valley
her-
of my ass.
My bottom. Yeah, I was like, oh no. So
I would have preferred the crack of my ass.
yeah, exactly.
Or even
right?
just butt crack. Like, just
Those-
Isn't it Emily Rath that's just like, just use the real word?
Yes.
He licked my asshole. He licked my taint.
Well, he wasn't licking, but he was in the valley of her bottom, and sparks fly. I guess.
I'm sorry. I can't hear valley without thinking of ranch dressing. He was in my hidden valley.
You know, if they had used some ranch dressing, I probably would have enjoyed it more. So
On the butthole? No.
Stella is the female main character. Stella's fresh out of jail and gets a fresh start and a chance at her dream job, but her boss Aiden is dreamy himself, so it gets complicated. That one's way more rom-com-y.
Why
Tessa
is she
Bailey.
in jail?
Oh, it's a whole thing. You gotta read the story to find out. And then last but not least, this is my favorite arc read of the week and also my convince you to read. This is the one I mentioned in the nerdy news. When the Rain Falls by Rea R-E-A Riley. So thank you again, Sunny Bay PR, for this arc. And this, okay, I was a little scared before I started reading this book because when you read the description, I thought, oh no, this could go really, really sideways. But I was very pleasantly surprised by how much I absolutely loved this book. So it is an age gap, which we know I love an age gap romance. It's 27 and 42. The male main character is 42. He's a widower, single dad who struggles with performance anxiety since his wife died, which is where I was like, how are we going to make this sexy?
Yeah.
But she does. So that description made me feel like this could be really weird, but take it from me. If you listen to me and read Ellory Douglas, listen to me and read this book too. It is so good. Finn is the male main character. He is so funny. He is extremely grumpy. It's Grumpy Sunshine. Like he's the black cat and the girl is more the golden retriever vibes. I laughed out loud. I cried. I feel like the writing, I have not lost a spouse, thank God, but I feel like the way that the author wrote this, dealing with the loss of his wife and still loving her and missing her while also developing feelings for this new person and kind of the struggle that he has with that. I felt like it was very respectfully done and very compassionate and a very good blend of like, how do I honor the memory of like this love of my life while I'm falling in love with somebody new? It was,
that would be hard to write.
Seriously made me cry, made me have like conversations with Robbie. Because in the past I've been like, I will haunt you if you date anybody. And then I'm literally reading scenes from this book and like, I don't want you to be alone. I want you to be happy.
Well, no, I
like,
told Brian I want him to be happy, just not with any of you all.
I want you to be happy alone.
With no one that I currently know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Don't date anyone
that's
I know.
true. So I laughed. I cried. The spice is spicing. It was so good. The female main character is Amy. Amy is kind of a wild child who wants to find a forever instead of just one night stands, and they end up being across the street neighbors.
Okay, can we coin a phrase here? You know how like you would do GTL, gym tan laundry on Jersey Shore? We're
Yeah.
going to do laugh, cry, masturbate. It was an LCM for me.
Or an LCF, if maybe you
Actually went and got fucked.
actually went and got fucked.
But,
Yeah.
but masturbate can encompass both.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true too.
'cause usually when I'm reading, no one's around. Or they're
Well.
asleep.
Or you could, okay, wait.
It's LCM.
LCGO. Laugh, cry, get off.
All right.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're going
it
to
was
coin
that.
something, people.
Yes.
It was that. For
We'll
me.
figure that out.
Highly recommend it. That was a ton of things that I read this week, and they were all arcs, and they were all good.
Yeah.
So,
Good
but
for you.
definitely read When the Rain Falls. It was so good. So,
How many books have you read since you did your show notes?
only one. Only one, but I'm saving it for next time. So, what did you guys watch anything this week?
Oh, are we still on a podcast right now?
I know that was just the Whitney, the Whitney intro.
I love it. I'm
Whitney's
so glad.
reading corner.
I'm so happy that you got to read that much this week. Those are
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, it was good. It
That's
was a good
usually
week.
in between Christmas and New Year's for me.
Yeah.
Except for last year, I read Manacled, so I cried every day. That was awesome. So speaking of crying and like weird ass shit, I was sick over the weekend and I watched all of the fall of the House of Usher, which Mindy had told me to watch before. And it's Mike Flanagan, who we did Midnight Mass last season. He is a brilliant director and
he's great.
screenwriter. But these are every episode is based off a work of Edgar Allan Poe. And the series is about a family who all get horrifically killed after making the deal of a lifetime. And it was
so
one of those
good.
shows that, like, I'm still thinking about it. I got on the internet as soon as I was done with it. And so I think we're going to do in January, while we're waiting for Scythe and Sparrow to come out, we're going to cover Fall of the House of Usher, which I just loved.
I'm so glad too, because as soon as you said you were watching that, it made me want to go watch it again.
Well, and he has a new show coming out next year too. And here's what I love about his shows. He has actors and actresses that maybe you've seen before, but they're not so popular that you're like, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so. It's like, and he uses all the same people. So every time you're like, ooh, I wonder who this person's going to be.
Yeah.
I wonder who that's going to be. And
Yeah.
he has like his own little family, which I really love.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
One of them's his wife too.
Which one?
I don't know who she is in Fall of the House of Uther, but she was in Midnight Mass, the lady who's pregnant who loses the baby. I can't remember her name,
yeah.
but that's his wife.
She's
and
Camille in Fall of the House
Yes,
of Usher.
she is. She
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I didn't know that was his
Aaron,
wife.
I think was her
Aaron.
name.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so go check that out, you all, and especially like watch it on Christmas break because we're going to cover it.
Yeah,
and
we'll talk about it.
Talk
Yeah.
about the Edgar Allan Poe works too. But it was again just brilliant
so
the way
good.
he
Yeah.
does it. Because I'm
I still
watching it
haven't
and I'm
watched
like,
it.
why do I like this so much? It's just smart and captivating,
Yes.
and
He is very smart.
All his works
he is
are.
really
Yeah.
good at bringing out the most fucked up in people, but also
Yeah.
like in Midnight Mass, you've got what was her name? Was it Bev? Who was just the
Bev.
most awful person?
Oh my gosh,
And in
yes.
this, she's like a lifestyle coach. Like it's amazing how he takes
Yeah.
these actresses
Yeah.
and like they're completely.
Different people.
Which I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's their job, but still.
Well, some
A lot of
people are better
get-
at it than
A lot of
others.
people get typecast, right?
Yeah.
And
For sure.
he does not let his people do that, which I love.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to watch it because I never did watch it, Mindy. I know you recommended it.
It's not as scary as Constantine, but I wouldn't
okay,
watch it in
good.
the dark, Whit, if I were you.
Gosh, okay.
It's just got a, there's just got a creepy vibe.
Well, there's
and-
jump scares.
Yeah, there
because
are
it's
jump
Mike,
scares.
that's
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan. You
Maybe
know?
Robbie will watch it with me because he really liked Midnight Mass.
It's super smart too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
it is.
just it's very smartly done.
Ooh, well, I'm excited. Did you?
Well,
wa-
and I was thinking, I was like, I can't wait to see what symbolism we end up figuring out, kind of like
Oh.
we did with Midnight.
Oh, that's
I'm
true.
sure there's
Yeah,
a ton.
there's a ton.
What'd you watch this week, man?
I'm not gonna lie. All I've done is watch a bunch of cat videos. Because that makes me happy. And Darren, my husband, sweet Darren, he knows that if I'm down, if he sends me a couple of cat videos, it'll help. So he's been sending them to me, and I've been looking them up.
That's nice.
So Sadie, who listeners, that's my teenage daughter, and my husband, they have started sending each other cat videos on Instagram.
That's cute.
We don't own animals. I don't know why, but all right.
Because they're hilarious. There are whole compilations of cats knocking shit over. That's hysterical. There are whole compilations of cats sounding like they're actually talking to you. It's so funny.
You know what compilations I love are people scaring other people. Those are the ones I watch.
I
all the
like
time.
people
I think
falling
they're-
down, too.
Well,
Those always cheer me up.
They usually fall down when you scare them really bad.
Sometimes
It's
they do. That's true.
hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really watched a ton this week because I've read all the books in the world, but we did finish the last few episodes of Agatha All Along, and it was fine. I didn't love it as much as WandaVision, but WandaVision is just so brilliant that
Yeah.
I don't think that you could ever live up to it, really. I will say I really enjoyed the second to last episode way more than I liked the last episode. So I think that what they were going for was the last two episodes were like one giant long finale that they broke up for some reason, and they shouldn't have broken it up. They should have
because
just
they
left
reached
it.
the point too
Well,
soon.
the huge like twist and all these things that have not been making sense while you watch the season, they all come together the last couple of episodes, but it's really more the second to last episode
Gotcha.
than it is the last one.
That's
You know
how
what I
feel
mean?
about the ending of Supernatural. We did not need that final episode. It could have
Yeah,
just
it
ended.
could have
I
ended
did
with
not
the
need
other
to
one.
see that wig on Jared Padalecki before he's old.
It was kind of like that. There was still a big reveal explanation in the last episode, but it just didn't need its own entire episode.
Right.
It could have still just been attached to the one before it, but it was still, I mean, if they have another season of it, I'll watch it and enjoy it. Everybody was great. The music was good. The story is good. But I just wish they hadn't split up the last 2 episodes, because then the last one is kind of like, okay, why did you do that?
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like a letdown, but it was still really good. Maybe that's a hot take I have. I don't know. But have you guys been listening to anything fun?
Well, I told you I listened to 5 hours of a book today.
Yeah, what was that?
So
What
I
book?
did finish American Rapture, which I talked about last week. It's a really brilliant book. It's extremely triggering. Very triggering if you have kind of lived in a religiously abusive home. It's very triggering about sex and sexual assault. And so, just keep those in mind if you do go read it. But it's very, very smart. And then I had talked a couple months ago about reading or listening to Feathers So Vicious, and my Libby hold had ran out. So it came back, and so I'm finishing
Yay.
that.
Yay.
And they did not fuck, but they did some stuff, and it was kind of great.
Not all the way to
Pound Town.
yeah.
But I don't, there's 2 narrators, and the guy does 2 different guy voices, and on one of the dudes, he makes them just sound like a fucking idiot. And I'm
Don't
every
love
time
that.
he does that voice, I'm like,
You just want to shush him, like, shh, yeah. Quiet
talk
you.
now.
Have you been listening to anything fun, Mindy?
Well, I finished Butcher and Blackbird.
Excellent.
Which now I know, I loved reading that book, but listening to it,
it's so different.
it's very different, and it really brings it to
Are you
life.
going to listen to Leather and Lark?
I will listen to Leather
Yeah.
and Lark. But right now, I switched over. Actually, on the way here, I switched over to If You Need Me, which is Helena Hunting's arc that I got. It comes out. By the time this airs, it'll already be out. I think it's the 19th or the 14th. I don't know. Anyway, I started listening to that because when I get the regular arc, they also send me the e-arc, which I love that they do that.
Thank you, Helena Hunting.
Thank you. Oh my God. The male narrator he's got such a deep voice. He's hot and sexy.
Whoever he is,
Yes.
he gives you the tingles.
He does give me the tingles. So yeah, I really literally have only heard 2 chapters.
I'm writing that down. We need a shirt that said that book gave me the tingles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I've been listening to a very different kind of book, but one that I've been enjoying. This was an advanced listener copy from Libro FM. Thank you so much. This is Taylor Swift by the Book, which this is extremely niche and very perfect for me. So this is written by Rachel Feder and Tiffany Tatro. It is an exploration of all of Taylor Swift's songs and albums and the various literary works that she references or pulls from.
Okay, that
cool.
is super cool.
100% up my alley, right? Like somebody
yes.
who likes Taylor Swift and likes her music, and also an English teacher.
It's like they picked your brain and said, what book would
what
this
would
person
Whitney
like?
Yeah. So this is obviously nonfiction. So this is going to be more of a dry listen compared to fiction. And it feels like, I mean this as a compliment, and other people will be like, no, I don't want to listen to that. It feels like I am listening to a thesis of like a literature master's student.
Well, this is
what
called our nerdiest thing.
Yeah. Well, but that's like kind of dry, right? It's just a different type
For
of book.
some people might think it's exciting.
Love it.
My
love
sexual
it.
butler would love that shit.
Yeah, it's so, I really love it a lot. I'm about halfway through it, so I've really been enjoying that in the car.
Cool.
It is very nerdy. I have been loving that, but that isn't the thing that I'm loving this
What are
week.
you loving?
My daughter is so freaking funny, but also like savage. And she just is funny, and she doesn't mean to be. She's not trying to be. She just is. So I've just really been enjoying her sense of humor. So 2 examples. On Halloween, while we were trick-or-treating, she came up. This at first made me feel bad about myself, and then it made me laugh. She came up and patted my stomach and asked me if I was pregnant. And I said, no, honey, I'm not. And she said, well, why not? And I said, well, if I was pregnant, I would cry. And she said, oh, Mom, we could just call a babysitter. Which, that's funny.
Yeah.
And then last week she said, Mom, do you have makeup like on your face? And I said, yeah. And she like touched my cheek and she goes, it's dry. Because you're old. It's just stuff like that every effing day. And I'm like, you are funny, but also stop. Well, that hurts my feelings.
I was telling you all before the podcast that my daughter asked, so I was sick and my husband didn't sleep in the bed with me. And then the next night my daughter was like, are you going to sleep with Mom? And he goes, yeah, I don't like not sleeping with her. And she goes, you guys are just like old people in love. I'm like, if that's like the worst you see in your parents,
Right.
Yeah.
like
Winning.
people in love.
I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, we could really dislike each other.
That is so true.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you may not like that your dad, like Brian is really bad about just like grabbing my tit. And I'm like, there's people standing right here.
Yeah.
Also do it again.
Is that what you're loving?
Brian grabbing my tit?
Yeah.
No, but I can't remember what I was loving. Hold on. Oh. I am really loving the emphasis being put on mental health right now on social media.
Yeah.
People tend to come together during hard times, and people are going through hard times for different things right now. And the last couple times have been particularly tough for some people. And I just wanted everyone to know that I've linked some mental health resources in the show notes, but you can
that's awesome.
also just call 988 straight from your phone if you ever need support. There's a lot of emergency support if you need it. If you ever need a therapist, you're always welcome to reach out for us, and we'll tell you how to find one. Like whatever you need. I've loved this emphasis on like feel your feelings,
Yes.
cry it out. It is healing. Maybe you're not sad, so feel those. Like do whatever you need to do. But I've just really enjoyed seeing that everywhere this week.
Yeah. Me too.
Piggybacking off of what you just said about mental health, mine has kind of taken a downturn, and I've really not been good. I have 2 trans children, and they're struggling, and as a mom, that's just really hard to watch. So I really struggled to figure out what I was loving this week. But I will tell you one thing I started doing, and again, Christmas I guess is just on my brain. I'm loving getting my holiday shopping started because it's actually, I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, actually, as my unique talent.
Oh.
Yeah. So, no, I am. I'm going to.
Yeah, we're going to put ours up this week.
100% this weekend. So, yeah, I'm just getting into the holiday spirit, and because I feel like at least during that time of year, people tend to be more compassionate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tend to, and I'm looking forward to seeing a little more of that.
Yeah.
So I think that just sort of got me in the mood, and I love shopping for my kids, especially trying to find something that they'll never imagine that they would get, but it's like the perfect thing for them, right?
What they didn't know they wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
A black dildo would do that.
For which one?
They'd be like, well, Mom, I never expected that from you.
Black dildos for all in the stocking this year.
I guess I know what Whitney and I
Everybody gets the same thing. Yeah. Everybody gets the same
She got
thing.
wholesale pricing.
Oh, man. Well, that brings us to our nerdiest topic, a craziest move by a book boyfriend. And so we talked about describing crazy move in different ways, right?
Yes.
So we've got crazy as in insane, crazy as in like dumb, bad move, and crazy as in panty dropping. And Mindy, did you add one more?
I did. I also have crazy as in like hilarious, like you're going to roll on the floor laughing.
Yeah, I forgot what it was. So I don't have any of those, but do you want to go first?
Oh, sure.
Tell us your funny one.
You want me to tell you the funny one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and actually this goes right along with what I'm listening to. In If You Need Me, the main character is Dallas, and he is a hockey player, and he has known she's not the PR person. What is she? She's the, maybe she is the PR person. I'm getting her mixed up with PR Barbie and Pucking Sweet. Anyway, yes, she is the PR person, and she makes him do all this crazy stuff, like go on like clown balloon stuff to like make like promo stuff that's like embarrassing,
yeah.
or like he doesn't like clowns, so whatever. So it opens up with him at a promo thing at a shelter, but he's in the bathroom because he has an anxiety boner.
An anxiety boner.
Yes, and he gets
Oh
them
my God.
throughout the entire book.
If
It
I got aroused
cracks
when
me
I
up.
was anxious, I would never leave
I
the
would.
bedroom.
I know. I think I'd have to just wear a vibrator.
And a diaper.
But yeah, it just cracked me up. This Helena Hunting is so like, this is what she does. She opens up and you're like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that just happened. It was like the first chapter. She just dives right in. But yeah, he's got an anxiety boner. And then he
That's
pulls
really funny.
Hemi, the female main character, pulls her in and has to like explain to her why he has a boner.
I'm just really freaking out.
Really anxious.
I'm really freaking out right now. Sometimes I get hard.
But
I would be like, sure, Jan.
but I've never laughed so hard. That made me laugh.
That is pretty. That's pretty crazy. Yeah,
It's
pretty crazy.
like Will Arnett when he's on How I Met Your Mother. When he gets a boner, he gets a nosebleed.
Oh man, did you have any, Deb, that were funny? Crazy as in funny?
I did not. No,
Okay, I didn't
no.
either. Well, you showed us up, Mindy.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show what I read.
Well, then let's go into our moves that crazy as in like literally insane crazy.
Yeah.
Deb, what were yours?
Okay, I've got a few. So the first book that came to mind was Haunting Adeline, which I know neither of you have read, but Zane Meadow, the main male character, cuts the hands off a guy that the female character goes on a date with and leaves them on her porch in a box.
See,
Like
now
a
that's,
cat?
That's why I haven't read this book.
Yeah. No, I don't recommend it. I know a lot of people really like it. It just was not for me. But and here's the thing, the storyline itself is actually really compelling, and I almost wanted to see where it went, but someone told me the second book got darker, and I'm like, nope, don't want to do that. So there's a lot of non-con in this book, and that's fine because we all read whatever we want, but that's a hard stop for me. But having said that, yeah, he's pretty fucking insane.
Yeah.
So the next book I thought about, and this is going to be really spoilerly, so I'm sorry for both of you because I know you've not read this. In the book The Coven by Harper L. Woods, Alaric is literally Satan.
Oh.
You just don't know until the last line of the book. So I've been telling you guys to read that for 3 years, so I'm not mad about spoiling it.
You get what you deserve.
You'll forget by the time you read it.
Yeah.
Then we've got Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, who's one of my favorite romantasy writers. But this is about the Four Horsemen, right?
Yeah.
So Pestilence drags a woman behind a horse for days after she tries to assassinate him.
Oh, dang.
But in his defense, he doesn't know that humans are fragile. So, I mean, he very much is like Castiel, where he like does not understand.
That makes me think of, oh my gosh, what is that show from the late 70s or the 80s? It's a radio station and he throws a bunch of turkeys.
Oh, WKRP in Cincinnati.
I swear I thought turkeys could fly. That's what it just made me think of. Like,
I think he even says, "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly."
That's just what I just picture him like. As God is my witness, I didn't know humans were fragile.
Yeah. No, literally, he has a rope wrapped around her waist and he drags her behind a horse. And then doesn't understand why she can't like stand up.
Why she can't handle it?
Yeah, yeah. So Trisha Wolfe, who we met at Less Than the Low Country, she has the hollow, what is it called? I'll put it in the show notes, but the first book in this trilogy is called Lovely Bad Thing, and it's about a lead detective that starts working with a professor that she actually helped convict and put into an institution for a murder, and she pulls him back out to help with the case for like a serial killer. He's brilliantly insane, but then it turns out that so is she. Oh. Yeah, so it's a little bit crazy on both ends. But they talk in like all philosophy and shit, and they're like so smart. They're like fucking weird. You know? But yeah, he is insane.
Our nerdiest psychopath.
Nerdiest psychopath. And then I do want to point out an honorable mention from Reddit about a crazy girlfriend. So there's a book called Stalked by the Boogeyman by Siggy Shade. And the male main character in this book has a curse put on him by the witch where when he ejaculates, it comes out as super sharp sand.
Oh.
And when he finally breaks the curse, he comes so hard that it floods the yard outside up to their ankles.
What? That is crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you to Reddit for that one. But I was like, can you imagine ejaculating sand? Yeah,
No.
so I don't know how he breaks the curse or anything, but I'm giving points to that chick. I don't know what he did to her, but it must have been bad.
It must have been bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been bad.
So those are my ones where they're actually literally insane.
Well, dang. You really delivered on that.
You're welcome.
Well,
I told you I read a lot more dark stuff than you guys do.
I only have a couple. These are just like the first two that came to my mind. So the first one I almost didn't put, but then was like, well, it was the first thing I thought of. Butcher and Blackbird.
That's the only one.
Is that the one you put? Oh, well, you go ahead and say yours then.
Well, it just doesn't get more insane than both of them. And actually also Lark and Leather and Lark.
And Lachlan.
And Lachlan,
And Lachlan,
yeah.
And Leander.
I just feel like, Bryn Weaver knows how to write a crazy, insane person.
I put Rowan specifically for coming up with the killing competition just so he can like hang out with Sloane.
Well, and like, the proposal.
Oh yeah,
Come
that
on.
too. Yeah,
it doesn't get more insane than that.
Those
Can you
are
imagine
nuts.
being like, what is that in that eye socket that I just took something out of?
Yeah, like
it's your engagement ring, babe.
I would have washed that.
Yeah. So then the other crazy as in insane move is also this is going to make me sound bad. It's also weirdly a panty dropper move also.
Okay, that's not.
So the book's Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. Dean is the male main character. He helps Cora and himself escape a serial killer and like beats him to death, but like in a really crazy, savage,
Like touch her and die type of way.
touch her and die type of way, and it's like really kind of hot,
Well,
but also disturbing.
I felt that way about Rowan when he beats up Francis.
It's very, very much the
It's
same.
that
vibes.
touch her and die.
There's a
Yes.
lot on Bookstagram right now where it's like things we like in books that we do not like in real life.
Yeah, never.
Because
No.
your husband is the least likely to punch someone in the face on the whole planet.
Yeah.
He would though. That's what he would say. I would if I needed to.
No, he'd be like, "Sir, excuse
He
me."
would be like, "Hey," but not that loud. Probably.
He'd be like,
Hey,
"Hey, now."
shout out to Robbie.
And then he would say something super fucking funny and
He really
diffuse the
would.
whole situation.
That's-
He's like the funniest person I know.
That's exactly what he would do.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about crazy moves, as in dumb moves or really bad moves.
Yeah.
Mindy, what'd you say for this one?
So I went to Pucked, and Alex in Pucked, he's my like OG hockey hottie, right? But he really fucks up in that book. So he is dating Violet, and they're like hot and heavy, right? But they're kind of keeping it on the down low because he has like a Playboy image, and he also plays on a team with her stepbrother. So it's just like a weird, so they're kind of keeping it all on the down low. People know, but it's not like, so, but he is trying to get advertisement deal.
An endorsement.
And his stupid agent tells him, you know, like, you can't be like doing stuff and like getting caught doing stuff or whatever. And so,
Like what kind of stuff?
like sexual, like being a playboy and all that
okay.
stuff. It's like, you really got to chill out. And so I guess I can't even, here's the bad part. This is why this was hard for me, is because I can't remember half the stuff I read, like specifics. But there's something happens where it's going to come out, and instead of like,
Something happens. Something's going to happen.
well, but instead of owning up to it, he is on, like, he's in an interview, and because he wants to like secure this product deal, he friend zones her in public to everybody.
Oh, like on camera.
And it's
beat.
Yeah.
so yeah,
Don't do it.
it's not a good look. Not
Rejection
a good look.
in the worst
Yeah.
possible way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's lucky she took him back.
Well,
He does have a big dick, so
I
there's
was about to
that.
say, must have been a stallion.
well, I have a couple. The first ones that came to my mind were very romantic-y. So first, I went to A Court of Mist and Fury, Tamlin locking Feyre in the house.
Yeah, that was some dumb shit.
Thinking that was a good
Yeah,
idea.
that was pretty stupid.
And then later in that same book, making a deal with frickin' Highburn to get Feyre back. Like,
You know
no.
what? She's puking every night. Maybe I should lock her in the house.
Yeah, and she wrote me a letter that says, I'm not coming back, so let me kidnap her with the enemy of all my people. Like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then also from Sarah J. Maas, the Throne of Glass series, when Adian throws Lysandra out of the house and she doesn't have any clothes on because she is like shifted back into her human form, and he throws her out in the cold
Man, I
and
hated
like
him for that.
calls her a whore, doesn't he?
he's pretty much a dick.
Yeah, he's like really horrible to her, and I hated him, and everybody I think hates him except for Lysandra ?
Yeah.
She does make him pay for it a little bit though.
Spoiler alert, does Adian die?
No,
Okay, good.
no, he gets to do the blood drinking.
Oh, that's right.
Whatever that's
Blood
called.
drinking.
The blood oath. The blood oath.
I was
Yeah.
going to call it the blood right. Potato.
Yeah, it's the same difference. And then the last one that I thought of is from The Score by Elle Kennedy, when Dean is having a real hard time. His friend unexpectedly dies, and he's like drinking all the time and like doing drugs, and he stays and parties with the football team instead of going to his girlfriend's like opening night of her play.
that
That
was
was like
really
a really
stupid.
big deal that like they talked about for months and months and months, and he just like didn't show up.
I might have ruined some stuff on the Coven for you, but I've not read that yet. So.
Oh well,
I know, my fault. I've had it for
it's only one scene.
yeah. That's only one scene I talked about.
That's only one scene. Yeah, it's fine. So what did you put?
So the first one for me is The Dare by Harley LaRue, which is the prequel to the Losers Duet. And the girl Jess loses a bet. They're in college, but her high school enemy is at this party, this guy that she accidentally gets expelled from high school. And so they're like enemies. But she loses a bet at this party and has to crawl behind him all night. Things get real kinky real fast.
I bet. Sparks fly, huh?
So those are some very dark romance books, but they're quite interesting. The next one is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. The female main character, Ada, gets herself in a pickle and ends up in an arranged marriage with the heir to the rival mafia family. And on the wedding day, she eats strawberries before the ceremony because she knows that Callum, her betrothed, is deathly allergic.
Ooh.
It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, my.
That's a little psychotic.
Yeah.
Too.
So I do have to bring out Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. So Josh, the main guy, he breaks into her house and plants cameras everywhere once he finds out that she's been obsessed with him. I want to go to Throne of Glass Series 2. We've got Rowan, who punches Aelin in the face in the Air of Fire.
Yeah.
Did not love that. That's like one scene I think could be probably removed from the books for me. There's other ways to piss her off. I don't think punching
Well, he
her in
also
the face
tells
is-
her that she should have killed herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of a piece of shit for a while. And finally, Outlander. Jamie does not tell Claire that he has remarried when they reunite and fucks her anyway.
Damn. That was deeply upsetting.
I was very, very upset by that. And I remember you were watching it. You were like, he's married to that leg hair chick, isn't he?
That bitch.
I remember you called it, and I remember being like, no.
Just keep watching. Oh, man.
Man, that was the only time I've disliked Jamie Fraser.
Yeah, that was bad.
But
I didn't
then-
love when he had to beat her because
Oh, yeah, when he gave her
on
a
another
spanking.
wedding night.
But he
That could have been
or
hot.
Was it the wedding night? No, it wasn't the wedding
No,
night.
it was after
that. Yeah.
But like the whole thing when he's like, I just like could not control myself and I love you so much. And I'm like, bitch, all you had to say was, dude, I had to marry.
Yeah.
It's the chick that tried to
Right.
kill you. Sorry. You know?
My bad. In fairness, I never thought you'd find out.
In fairness, I thought you were 200 years in the future.
Right, yeah. So, well, that...
Speaking of panty dropping.
Yeah, I was going to say that brings us to crazy moves as in panty dropping crazy. Mindy, what'd you say for this one?
So I went to, surprise, surprise, my favorite pucking around, but I love that scene when Jake and Ilmari punish Caleb and Rachel when they pull off their stunt with the jerseys, like they're trying to make them mad and they succeed. And so they basically just edge them and make them do their bidding all night long.
Yeah. All
Is that where they cover Caleb's head with the jersey?
The jersey, yes.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, that is a good one. Well, I have two, and both of them are kind of embarrassing to say out loud. The less embarrassing one I'll say first. So this is The Deal by Elle Kennedy, that same, the first book in the same series. Garrett Graham tells Hannah that he will help her get comfortable with intimacy and help her like relax enough to be able to have an orgasm. She's got PTSD after being sexually assaulted in exchange for her helping him in a class.
Yeah, tutoring.
First of all, it's not an even exchange. Never
Like,
mind.
you help me get a test and you help me get off.
Right, exactly. But that is some of the best spice. Some of the
So
best
good.
spice. It is so good. And I love them as a couple too. And just as characters, they're really, really good. So I just think that's a crazy move. Like, sure, I'll help you have an orgasm if you give me your notes from class. Like, what? That's just so like...
Who's this benefiting more?
Exactly, right? Both of them.
I'm sure he gets an orgasm too, doesn't he?
Well, sometimes actually
Sometimes
no.
not, yeah.
Good
Especially
for
when they
him.
start
He's
out.
a generous lover. He's a real giver. Speaking of being a real giver, this is the one that is really embarrassing for me to say out loud. But
Not your daddy, but mine or whatever.
no, actually, it's not. Shockingly, Priest by Sierra Simone.
Okay, I was going to put that in here, but you already had it in here.
Yeah,
so.
Father Tyler Bell lets Poppy, one of his parishioners, come to his house in the middle of the night, and they get naked on the kitchen counter to basically just like soak the tip of his penis inside of her to be like, we're going to do it. But like,
not really.
But yeah, they've convinced themselves that he's not breaking his vow.
Craziest part in that book.
That's not the craziest part to me, though. It's the kitchen counter to me.
Oh,
that to me is like
him giving her pussy a tongue lashing on the altar of God is crazy.
Oh, I mean, it is, but I like the kitchen counter better.
But it's not as
panty dropping. Yeah,
I don't know. That's pretty.
I like the kitchen counter one, but yeah. So it's like well, I'm not going to say that out loud. Never mind. It's some mental gymnastics to convince yourself that you're not breaking the vows you made as a priest because you're technically not having sex. Yeah, but you are. So there you go.
Right.
That's a really good book. Everybody should read it.
So
it's a love story.
It is it's actually a very,
really
very good
is.
book.
Yeah, it's really
not.
good.
It does not knock on religion actually at all.
It's
That's what I like about it. So I have 4, but I realized that 3 of my picks for this category in panty dropping are fated mates.
Oh.
That all lie about their identity, either to win over their mate, they already know that they're fated, or to keep them safe.
Yeah.
So we've got Callum from What Lies Beyond the Veil. We've got Hawk from Blood and Ash, and we've got Adrian in The King of Battle and Blood.
Yeah, those are all really good ones.
Those are 3 huge panty droppers for me. And I'm going to bring up Lights Out again. He breaks into her house consensually, like she tells him to do it,
right?
And that's what's panty dropping to me. Like it's all role play.
Right.
He wears a mask, but they have a safe word. It's a trusting relationship, and for me, that's very.
They have their proper safeguards to respect each other.
Do.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't start out respectful on either of their ends, but it does end up that way. And he's such a cinnamon roll. When are you guys going to read that? God, I want to talk to you about it.
On my TBR.
It's on the list. It might be a few years, okay?
It's not a Christmas book, so right now it's not at the top of the list.
December 26th, we expect you to read it.
But you could come before Christmas twice this year.
Oh, I'm gonna come
Christmas
several times before Christmas.
Yeah.
Shout out to Robbie. So, like I said at the beginning of this episode, the inspiration for this topic is Celebrate Your Unique Talent Day, which is November 24th. So I thought it'd be fun for us to share what we think our unique talents are.
I want to hear yours, Whit.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I've been told that I give good voice.
You do?
In my workout classes, especially.
But you do not what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, you should hear what Robbie says I'm good at. No. Spit running down my chin. Tears coming out of my eyes.
Thank God you don't wear a lot of mascara.
Oh, that's why. That's why I don't. Yeah. You never know when the mood will strike you. Oh man, no, I really have been told I've got good voice for podcasting, for teaching bar classes, for teaching generally speaking, and
I agree.
Talking in front of people.
I would agree with that.
So I don't know if that's a unique talent, but it's honestly maybe not even a talent at all. But that's all I came up with.
That's kind of how I feel about mine, though.
What'd you say about
mine
yours?
is gift giving, because I feel like most of the time I can find the perfect gift for someone that is both thoughtful and unique to them. I try really hard to get them something that they wouldn't think of to get themselves, and something that really goes with their personality.
That is a talent, because some people do not give good gifts.
You're right about that.
What's funny is I'm the worst gift receiver. I get embarrassed and I don't know what to say, and I'm super awkward.
Thanks for that.
I love it.
It's amazing.
But even if it is, I'm like, I don't want it to sound fake, but I really do like it. I get very overanalyzing.
I get anxious about how I am being perceived when I get.
I was going to put that one of my actual talents was being able to be anxious in any situation.
But that's not unique, because all 3 of us are.
Yeah.
I did put 3 because they're all super weird and not really talent. So my first one is I can do perfect lipstick without a mirror.
You are good at lipstick and makeup in general.
Thank you. I can pinch really hard with my toes. And then my third one is I do a really good fart noise sound effect. So
I thought you were just going to stop at fart.
no, I asked my daughter and husband via text what my unique special talent was, and that's what they said.
Both of them said that?
Yeah.
That's funny because I feel like my family would say that same thing about me.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
It's not just like a raspberry noise. Okay.
Okay.
I did not expect that. That was like a cute toot.
But it sounds more legit, right?
It does, yeah. I think you win.
I don't know. Shall I do mine?
Go ahead.
Because if you're watching the YouTube feed, you really should be. All right, you ready?
I'm sorry if we've lost any listeners. You know what? If you listened before, you knew what you were getting into.
I used to crack my kids up with that for so
All right,
much.
Whitney, we have to hear your fart noise.
I don't have one. Like,
Me and Mindy are weird for having a very...
that's all I got. Oh, man. I'm proud of all my friends today. Oh, Lord.
Eyeliner running down your face.
Okay, well, now we're going to talk about something else. It's time for our nerdiest things of the
I
week.
think that was it.
I know that one was all of ours. Yeah. Oh Lord, I can't wait to watch the analytics for this episode.
Everybody turned off at like 37 minutes.
Oh yeah. Who wants to go first for nerdiest thing of the week?
I'll go.
Tell us
If I can
everything.
get my shit together. So there is a company that's going around the nation doing candlelight concerts with like string instruments. And they came to Louisville and they were doing the parts of the Bridgerton soundtrack, which if you've not watched Bridgerton, it's all classical scores of popular music.
Yeah.
And so it was beautiful. It's at this theater where like you sit in the round. And so everybody's got a good seat. And then the room was lit literally only by candles with like thousands of flowers mixed in.
Oh, that's cool.
And then people came dressed up in like full Bridgerton garb.
That's really
It
cool.
was
That's
really
like one of
fun.
those things that's a full experience.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It's
all
not just
senses.
listening to
Yeah.
music.
And
yeah.
they only played for an hour. It wasn't too long. It was like super fun, but it was literally 4 instruments. That's
Oh,
it.
that's cool.
insane.
And it was
How
beautiful.
cool is that?
They
That
did
is
a
really
great job.
cool.
And one girl was from South Korea. Someone was from Honolulu. And so, yeah, it's not just like, Joe
Yeah.
Schmo off the street or whatever.
That's awesome. Mindy, what was your nerdiest thing?
So I have a couple. First was I finally bought myself a book stand.
Yay.
But the nerdy part about it is that I found one it's a stack of books and there's a cat on top of it.
Oh,
So
perfect.
it's perfectly nerdy for me. But then the other thing is I got way too excited about this. And it's because when I was listening to Butcher and Blackbird, I finally got the sports card moment from Fionn. When one of my questions was, why does Fionn say
Oh, sports.
something about sports at the
yeah.
wedding? And it's because if you go back to when Rowan brought Sloane to get her arm fixed, after they get it on and it's like super loud,
Marathon screaming.
yes.
sex.
So he keeps telling Rowan and Sloane, no sports. They can't do any sports, but he means sex.
Sex.
So that's what that tie-in was. And I was like, that is super clever. But I actually got super excited about that, which it's a little bit weird to get excited about that. But I was
No,
like
not.
so proud of myself for figuring
I
out
was
my
gonna
own
say,
question.
When you care about a story like that, to
Yeah.
have questions and then to go back and realize, oh wait, this is it.
I
No, I
answered
think
my
that's
own question.
that's always exciting. Well, I'm wearing my nerdiest thing. It's from Target.
Was that a bluey?
It's a bluey
cute.
Christmas sweatshirt. It's in their Christmas like family pajama thing area.
Oh,
They do have child sizes, but I didn't buy any for my kids. I just bought this one for me. And I think that is the nerdiest part of the nerdiest thing.
Did you send me the TikTok about the Wiggles this week? Was that you?
No.
Okay, so
My kids are too young for the Wiggles.
right, But you know the dark-haired Wiggle, right? Have you seen
purple
pictures of him? Okay.
The new, newish
purple
one.
Wiggle.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Yeah.
there's
He's super hot.
It's like Dad CEO or something. He's on TikTok and Instagram. He's hilarious. He went on. He's like, "Why is my wife always watching the Wiggles when the kids aren't in the room?" And then it shows him like Googling the guy, and he like walks in. And he's like, "Turn it off." He's all tatted up.
I
and,
definitely
Yeah,
think that
he's
was my
super
nerdiest
cute.
thing of the week, like forever ago when I discovered
The
how hot he
Wiggles.
was.
Yeah.
I remember that.
you
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
him. Yeah.
But it's like coming around again. It's like everybody forgets that he's like super hot.
Yeah. So I'm into Bluey's dad. Robin Hood the fox and Bluey's dad. So that's also
So
a
just
nerdiest thing.
cartoons.
Tells you a lot about me. Tells you a lot about Robbie. Probably.
I want to know if his dick
man.
is animated.
Oh, shout out to Robbie. Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay tuned on Thursdays for our read-along episodes about Leather and Lark, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, and please come back because we hopefully won't make fart noises.
Like what you heard in this episode? Follow Our Nerdiest Thing on Instagram at instagram.com/Our Nerdiest Thing or Facebook at facebook.com/Our Nerdiest Thing. We love hearing from fellow nerds. Email us at ournerdiestthing@gmail.com.